Welcome to another episode of Safety Bytes. My name is James Junkin. Happy New Year. 2022 was a great year for Mariner Golf, and I hope it was for our viewers as well. We want to thank all of you who have followed us on LinkedIn, who have commented on our posts, who have read our articles, and who have viewed our Safety Bytes. I hope you find our content interesting and you find value in it. And we want to thank you for your participation, and we hope that it's improving your safety practice. We have some new efforts to announce in this episode. For one, we would like to invite all of you to visit our YouTube channel, Mariner Golf Consulting and Services. There you will find our catalog of webinars, trainings, and safety bites. So we encourage you to go over there and like and subscribe to our page. Comments on our productions are always welcome. That's how we grow as safety professionals, by collaboration. So thank you for following us. Please check out our YouTube channel, Mariner Golf Consulting and Services on YouTube. In 2022, we began our monthly drawing for what we called our Give Back Giveaway, in which we gave away some of the best occupational safety and health books that are in print. We gave away books by Fred Manuel, David Proven, Todd Conklin, Sydney Decker, and Linda Martin, just to name a few. Each month, the drawing came from those that follow us on our LinkedIn page. And we're going to continue our Give Back giveaways into 2023, but with a little twist. Monthly winners will be selected from those that like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So please go over and follow our YouTube channel to be entered into our monthly drawings. And this month, we're going to give away a book that garnered much interest and is one of my personal favorites, A Field Guide to Safety Professional Practice by Dr. David Proven. Now, there are a ton of books on the theory of safety practice, and many of them I have. Most of them I've enjoyed, and they've had a tremendous impact on our company and how I approach safety. But Dr. Proven's book has been the most impactful to me in the day-to-day workings for myself as a safety professional and as the CEO of Mariner Golf Consulting and Services. So head on over to our LinkedIn page for details on how to access our YouTube contest, or go to YouTube, enter in Mariner Golf Consulting and Services, and check us out. We would also like to thank Dr. Linda Martin for co-hosting Safety Bytes with us in 2022. Dr. Martin is an outstanding safety professional and a great friend, and her comments on our show always led to great discussions. Dr. Martin will be taking a sabbatical for the time being, so I am now joined by Mariner Golf's Vice President for Occupational Safety and Health, Mr. Justin Long. Justin, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself. Welcome to Safety Bytes.
Man, I'm super excited to be here. I've been keeping up with these Safety Bytes now since we started them. I look at every one of them. I try to read any comments that come through, and y'all really have changed me. Even though I've got a lot of experience, y'all have adjusted my own thinking. So y'all really challenged the way that I thought in the past. So I really am excited to be.
Well, that's kind of the purpose of Safety Bytes, is to just throw some topics of occupational safety and health out, and be like just a bunch of safety professionals sitting around, shooting the breeze, sharing ideas, sharing concepts, sharing opinions, so that we all get better in the practice.
Right.
But as you're joining us, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about what you do at Mariner Golf and how long you've been in safety.
Well, I'm Justin Long. I've been in safety for what now, James? You've been with me from the start of my career, 12 years, 13 years, something like that?
12, 13 years, yeah.
I started out in safety. I love to say this. I started out in safety as a janitor, pretty much doing custodial work for PEC Safety, or PEC Premier, then PEC Safety.
Right.
My job was pretty much done every day by like 9:30, 10 a.m. I could go sit in the galley and watch TV and eat ice cream if I wanted to, over at the Mr. Charlie rig down south in Morgan City, Louisiana. instead, rather, I decided to go sit and just kind of see what our company does. I wanted to think of some different routes that I could take with the company. And there's nothing wrong with staying in the custodial world. But I kind of was already ready for something pretty early on, something different. So one of the first classes I actually sat in was one of Mr. James Junkin's classes. I realized pretty quickly, listening to James and being so inspired by just kind of what he had going on in his class. I said, that's something I could really see myself doing. So I kept that going. Then I started taking notes on all of the information and material through basic orientation and core compliance that James was teaching. I had notebooks full of notes on the information because I knew if I was going to get in that world, I was coming from a different life. If I was going to get in that world, I needed to start understanding the information to be able to show my knowledge. Then I started taking notes on the instructor because presenting and having conversation in front of a room full of people is not something I had ever done. And it does take a little practice for certain.
Well, you're one of the best at it now.
Oh, man. I've had some of the best mentors in it. So I've had some great people pushing my skill. I finally got that shot. I became a basic orientation instructor for PEC. Then I started teaching some of their standalone various classes like first aid and fall protection, some of their small, short standalone classes. They started sending me through training, building my education, my knowledge, my credential up. And then we moved over to another facility. I did that for a while, became their lead instructor, facility supervisor, and Mariner Gulf, within the time of me really build, this is over a couple of years, Mariner Gulf blew up. It started to expand. Working alongside of these guys, they understood my knowledge level and I understood where they were going. They offered me a position on a contract they had not too long before picked up in North Dakota. Joey Long is the one who offered me the position. He said, "Hey man, I got a position for you up in North Dakota." He said, "Hey, you're going to have to start your career over pretty much. You're going to come in as a safety tech. You're not going to be a supervisor no more. You ground level."
From the warm winds of coastal Louisiana to the freezing winds of North Dakota. There you
He never even said nothing about that before I went. He never mentioned it to me. I mean, I knew North Dakota was cold, but he never stressed just how cold North Dakota was. But I came in ground. I said, so why would I do something like that? Why would I mean, I've climbed the ladder here at this company. Why would I, just cancel all that out and start over? He said, because you're going to be in the field implementing. You've been going to school, building your knowledge up. You've been presenting it. You've been having conversations with workers in the field, but you've not been in the field yet.
Right.
I can't put you in there in a leadership role, and I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't want to set you up as for failure. What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to see things that you can't see from the front of a classroom or through just a conversation.
It's one thing to know the theory. It's
That's
one
right.
thing to know things academically.
That's right.
It's another thing to translate that into actionable items that we use to bring workers to get home safe.
Absolutely.
From high hazard jobs. So tell us a little bit about your experience in North Dakota as a safety tech.
Well, it met my needs because, as James knows, I get bored pretty easy. I do the same thing for too long, and there's no new information coming in or no new experiences coming in. I start getting bored, and James is one of the best at throwing things in the mix for me to do. I got to North Dakota and went to a service company that does everything. Estivold Oilfield Services. I was their new safety tech in the field. They build barbed wire fences around oil field locations all the way out to building tank batteries and inspecting pipe. They do every service you can think of, just about it.
Roustabout work.
Roustabouts, hydrovacers.
Hauling back then.
Mm-hmm. You name it, they just about do it. I got up there and it was almost an information overload, but I kind of figured out a way to manage that. I had some good leadership in that, manage that new information, and it met my needs. I got so much, and that was a great experience. I actually got to take a lot of the theory that I had picked up throughout being an instructor and actually start seeing it applied in the field. I started seeing field application of it. I would say one of the the best parts of that experience was I was getting some field time. I was starting to see some of the hardships and the hard times that safety guys have in the field with field workers that have something to do already. Whenever you're coming in when you're coming in trying to get them to do things safely, trying to help them understand how important it is to their life to do it safely, and how important it is for their job to do it safely. I started seeing those challenges.
As you grew from a safety tech to a leadership role to now you're the vice president in charge of our entire team in North Dakota for various companies that we manage occupational safety and health for. I thought it'd be good in this episode of Safety Bytes to talk to you and to share with our audience some advice for new emerging safety professionals, whether they're not necessarily based on age, whether they're coming out of the craft, they're coming out of the trades, and they're becoming safety professionals, they're coming from school, and they have a degree in occupational safety and health. Age really doesn't matter, but young and experienced in the practice of safety. What are some things that you would give to advice to people getting into our field?
Well, as you obviously know, we have this contract here locally in Mississippi where I consult for a company that hired a pretty new, inexperienced safety professional. Right. He's a smart guy, one of the smartest guys I've ever been around, and he's sharp, quick learner, and this is something that's been on my mind pretty much lately, and some of the things I see. I would say some of the best advice I could give that helped me out was, one, take your time. Don't try to get it all at once. Don't try to know everything all at once. Take your time and manage the information that's coming in. If you try to think at too high of a level, or not think, rather, if you try to apply at too high of a level, when you're not ready for that, that's when you start to become overwhelmed. A lot of it seems like...
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's hard to come into a situation and start talking about ISO 45001 and Z10 and safety management systems when you've not mastered the idea of the job hazard analysis, job safety analysis, looking at hazards as they present themselves within the work steps. I think that's some good advice. Right. Following up on something you said, I think it's important, whether you're a new safety professional or you're an older, experienced safety professional, continue to learn. Have a passion for learning. We're never going to know it all. We're never going to know it all. So there's always something out there that I can learn from. There's always a new methodology. There's always a new technique. There's always a new way of anticipating hazards and evaluating risk so that we accomplish our number one goal, which is getting workers home safe from high hazard jobs. So, Justin, other than that, what's some advice you would give emerging safety professionals?
I got two things to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying about learning. You definitely want to gear your efforts in towards your accolades. You want to build your accolades up. I mean, don't focus so much on the letters at the end of your name, though they're so important. More so gear your education and your knowledge income about the area that you are in, on what you are doing. So it doesn't do you much good to learn about welding safety if you work for an electrical company, unless that electrical company does a lot of welding. You need to know some stuff when you work around it, but don't try to learn, gear where your areas of expertise are, gear your education around that. And then the other thing was I found value in starting to study and learn people. Other people in the field, how people think, not just on a level of what they do on a day-to-day basis, but in a sense of how do they respond to certain things directions you try to send them in. How do they respond to regulation? How do they respond to recommended practice? It's important that we understand the people in the field, not just in a general sense, but specifically the people that you come into contact with on a daily basis in that industry.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your comments and add one more as we wrap this episode of Safety Bytes up.
Sure.
No matter where you are in the profession, a good safety professional is always a good listener. So as you get that first job, as you go out there into your new company that you're working for, be a good listener. Listen to experienced people, listen to your management team, network with other safety professionals. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I've got this specific situation. How would you deal with it? We're
Certainly.
all in a mentored trade. We're all in a mentored trade.
Certainly.
So best wishes for 2023. Thank you, Justin, for joining us. Please
Thank
go
you.
over, follow us on LinkedIn, Mariner Gulf Consulting and Services, and follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and be entered into this month's contest to give away our book here, this month's giveaway by Dr. David Proven, A Field Guide to Safety Professional Practice. Until next time, be safe.